to the WrightByCooper audio experience. A podcast that brings no-nonsense business advice taught by a serial entrepreneur, vetted and approved by one of your own. Now your hosts. She's an orthodontist, speaker for U-Labs, dental monitoring, and others. Dr. Bryn Cooper, and the founder and CEO of New Patient Group, managing partner of Wright Chat, and a speaker for Invisalign and OrthoFi, Bryan Wright.
Okay, so we're talking about our outfits, right?
Yours or mine?
Both. Well,
I hate what I have
Brian
on.
likes to show his chest.
Well, I have a weird story about that.
Okay, let's hear the story.
It's not. What are you doing with your microphone?
It's in front of my face.
Don't you think that's a good thing? There.
No.
Can anybody see Bryn?
No.
Yay, YouTube followers. We don't have. Do we have any? Oh yeah, that's right. This is on the New Patient Group station. We do have YouTube followers. For a second there, I thought this was a brand new station.
We thought about that.
What were you talking about?
You needing to button one more button.
But it looks so bad. Hold on. Let me button it up. Doesn't that look ridiculous?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
It makes me feel all like claustrophobic in here.
Yeah, just button-ups are not your thing.
But they sometimes are. Like, that's a problem. Does it show too much skin? Hey, everybody. Welcome into the... What's our show name?
The WrightByCooper.
That's
this
right.
is not WrightByCooper.
I'm right to the next of you. I'm right over your right shoulder. I'm always here when you need me.
No, but see, wearing white also, I feel like a marshmallow. Because...
No, you don't look like a marshmallow.
Well, so in college, my sorority had to wear these jerseys. They were called jerseys. And our sorority colors are cardinal and straw. So if you know, you know. And so, but the background of our jerseys was white. And I think we were the only white ones. Everybody else had like different colors. And like when we put it on, they were like boxing. We were all like, glad we're in a sorority and look like we're wearing like white marshmallow snowman suits. Like,
It sounds like an attractive sorority.
we were cute, and that was part of the problem.
Is that what your mom told you?
It's not funny.
It is? Oh, yeah. Maybe I should set the podcast studio. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. I'm Brian.
I'm Dr. Bryn Cooper.
And I guess is that the show? Is that the episode?
The whole episode.
Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, new podcast for you. And we thought this would be cool. And there's a lot of people. I had posted this on LinkedIn, I don't know, some point last year.
Yeah.
When we were going to do this, and just the whirlwind of you in the practice and running practices.
I had a baby.
That's no excuse.
We tried to record remote, and we did not like it.
We did not like it. Like what's happening now, I don't know, maybe there's a bunch of people that have already turned off the podcast, but we like it.
So, it does.
We're looking for those like us out there. But yeah, the Zoom sessions, that didn't work at all. It was too robotic, and but we're here. We're doing it. We're committing. We are in the studio in Colorado Springs. We moved into this area last September 2023 as we do this podcast today.
There we go.
So Bryn flew in, and you had an elevator problem with your plane last night.
We did. And, I don't know how to fly a plane, but I've been around.
Do you know anybody that does?
I have. And my husband worked on planes at Boeing for 3 years.
Is it the guy that's over your right shoulder right now?
Well, you're one of them. You're one of a few.
Well, you weren't going to tell everybody I know how to fly a plane?
Oh, what's your feelings?
Where's my feelings?
Brian Wright
Anyway, go
flies
ahead.
some airplanes.
Ah, yeah. Well, that sounds good to hear.
And so I was like, yeah, it's an elevator problem. And we thought I might not get here because without elevators, then you might...
You can't control the pitch of the plane, so it's kind of a problem.
That means whether you go up or down.
Did you just explain that?
Yes.
And for those of you who are listening, you didn't get to see the visual of Bryn actually do that with her hand. That way everybody knows.
Exactly.
Just like this. Yeah, if you ever want to kill someone, go put a T-shirt in the elevators on the plane. Lock them up. Yeah. And they're going to be history. But no, this is cool. We're going to come from a perspective on this podcast. We have the clinician, the doctor, the orthodontist, that's in the weeds, running businesses, running practices, just like so many of you. And then we've got, I don't know, what am I? Am I the business coach? Is that what we're going to talk about?
I
entrepreneur coach?
You've run many different types of business, and you've been interested in different types of business and how they run and the hospitality of it. And so
I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. And,
yes.
And now you've focused in on the orthodontic community, which is one that, we're trained as clinicians. Even if you get an MBA while you get your orthodontic degree, which happens in some schools now, you're not taught how to have a difficult conversation with your team member. You're not taught how to manage your money if things are going well. You're not taught strategies if your percentages don't match up to the ideal. There are all these things that we have to learn how to do them and how to get the right people to support us, not just be like, I was the A student, I can do it all.
I think that the challenge becomes, and I have the utmost respect for MBAs. A lot of them. So my cousin's he's a CFO for American Airlines, MBA. I'm faculty for Align, so work with a lot of MBAs. Speak for a lot of companies, like same companies you speak for. We work with a lot of MBAs. So I say this with the utmost respect, but the reality is MBAs don't learn how to be an entrepreneur and run small businesses in school. That is taught by professors. Where are you going? You tired of my conversation?
There was some noise.
Oh, anyway, she had to leave to go shut the door. We forgot to shut the podcast door. Is that my fault or yours? That's got to be mine.
Hey, but
I'm a veteran at podcasts.
Isn't that so? Yeah, but also, isn't that number one thing in delegating tasks? The confusion about who is the ringable neck that's supposed to take care of it. We need to We need to delegate which one of us is in charge of the door.
Well, clearly it was you.
This time, but there's another podcast everyone will watch, hopefully, where Brian goes and gets
We've already
the door.
lost all of our listeners. They're done. They've tuned us out. They didn't even get to the door part.
All right.
But yes, I'm just trying to be a team player. You shut the door once. I shut the door once.
So it's an alternating responsibility.
And then hopefully moving forward, we don't have to do it again because we remember to shut it before we start.
Yeah.
I think work smarter, Bryn, not harder.
When you're clicking the button, I need to say, is the door closed? So button click, door closed goes together.
There's the checklist. Flight lit check. How's the elevators? Are they working?
Right?
Yes.
Checklist.
Which is one of your pre-takeoff checklist items for all of you who want to be airplane pilot nerded all day long. Yeah. But no, there's a disconnect. What you can learn from MBAs is fantastic. And it should be incorporated into the learning environment of every business on the planet. But where a lot of people go on, I see this, all the dental corporations, who do they hire as CEOs? MBAs. Yeah. There isn't an MBA that sits in the Shark Tank team, and these are the smartest business brains on the planet. 75% of billionaires either dropped out of college or never went. And the language we speak as entrepreneurs is completely the opposite of what MBAs speak. It's just the reality. And there's a lot of things that MBAs do when running corporations that put small businesses out of business. And one of the things I love from a mindset change standpoint is talking about all those things. If your practice was run by the Shark Tank, what would that look like? And that's what we teach. If it was run by Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet, what does that look like? That is the
Wait, what? Who's Marcus Marcus Lemonis? Who is this person from?
Can you
The
say
Prophet?
his last name for me again? Yeah, from The Prophet.
Lemonis? What did you say it was?
Lemonis.
Lemonis. Okay, so tell me who this person is in the context.
Well, you're gonna have to go watch him on The Prophet.
Is that a TV show?
It is a TV show. Not anymore. I don't think it's on anymore.
Is this an old TV show?
Can I tell you one of the highlights of my career?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Is this going to sound like, if they don't know me out there, am I going to sound like an arrogant jerk?
Sometimes you do, but you should try it.
Well, tell him I'm not.
He's not. He's not arrogant.
I'm like the sweetest thing ever.
He's confident in himself.
Is that another word for you calling me names?
I think I'm confident in myself, so then I'm only calling myself names as well.
You are. You're arrogant. No, you're not. You're a sweetie too. What were we talking about? Oh, Marcus is so the lady, she's a orthodontist, East Coast, Stacy Frankowitz.
Okay.
So this was back when we were doing the Invisalign practice development workshops. I can't remember what city it was in. So afterwards, I go with her into this little bar kitchen area of the hotel.
Okay.
And I don't know, we spend an hour, 2 hours, I don't even remember how long it was, just chatting business and kind of reshaping our mind to be the opposite. A lot of things what you're going to hear on this podcast, and if you listen to my new patient group one, is honestly the opposite of basically everything you've ever been taught by people in the bubble or MBAs as an example. And anyway, we're talking and we're diving into all this business stuff. And one of the things I taught at that PDW was how to look at numbers differently, right? You can't lump costs and investments into the same thing. And that is what MBAs do, right? You've got money coming in versus money going out, which as an entrepreneur, you cannot do that. You've got to divide it between what's a cost versus what's producing a return on your time, return on your efficiency, return on your money. Those are two very different things. So I'm walking through these exercises and she realizes, holy crap, like my whole business falls in the cost aisle. From my team to just everything I'm doing. I'm nickel and diming things to try to save money. But meanwhile, the things I'm spending money on aren't producing any kind of return whatsoever.
Yeah.
So on paper, it may look cheaper, but the more expensive one is actually the one that's cheaper because it produces a higher return in so many different ways. So we're diving into this exercise. And then her husband comes up. So he was there for whatever reason. And we chat for a while. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember if it was the next day, that night, a week later, whatever, there's a 5-star review written on Google about New Patient Group. Never asked her to do it. And it said, Brian Wright is a combination of Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet and the entire Shark Tank team. You have to do whatever you can to partner your practice with any company he's involved with.
There you go.
And that was without asking. So that was one of the highlights of my career. That somebody that I spent time with like that went and did that.
Yeah.
And I bring that up only because, one, I think for those of you just coming across this podcast and you don't know who the hell I am, hopefully that puts some value on where we're coming from is how the most famous companies in the world and the most famous entrepreneur names that you all know, and I use Shark Tank a lot because everybody gets it. There's just a small example of this is how the billionaires run their businesses. And it is very, very different than how the majority of people can even wrap their head around. And that's the stuff we're going to be talking about on here. And this is the stuff I work on, with Bryn and her practices, with her being a customer of Wright Chat, a New Patient Group. And we thought it'd be cool to come to everybody from the clinician standpoint and then the coach standpoint and just combine these things together into a non-scripted. Do you think they know this is non-scripted?
I think they can tell.
I mean, if we're reading off a script today, we're pretty good.
Yeah, we're real good. But
You want to talk about anything else?
Well, no, I just feel like as a clinician, there's sometimes when you're listening to these podcasts, especially business podcasts, and you're like, but wait, in my scenario. And I think that's, my major role in this is to say, but wait, this is how we normally do it, or this is something we've tried, or this is something we just don't know or we're not taught. And I think it's important to think about those things and think about real life, how you're going to do this in the midst of seeing patients. Like as orthodontists, small business owners, we're not in a C-suite where we get to have distance from our patient-facing duties. We are frontline and C-suite, and that I know all small business owners are, but definitely as a clinician where a license is required to do what you do, there's a limited number of people that can do the things that you can do.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you get caught in these situations where you're technically the only person licensed to do it, yet you need to start pulling your head out of the weeds and look at the big picture from 3,000 feet, and you're caught 30 feet down. And so it's how do you juggle going back and forth between those two things so that you can help your business run and be better and help yourself be better and juggle that mindset shift that you have to do on a daily basis, multiple times a day.
I think one of the challenges you all have is you've been the best at what you've done from a very early age in school.
Yep.
Top of the class, dental school, badass there, ortho school, awesome there. And then I think you get into this mode where you don't want to ask for help, right? It's hard to admit.
It's embarrassing.
I need to be coached, right? But it shouldn't be like that. And there'll be obviously a million probably podcasts just on this one topic that I'm about to bring up. But the number one trait of billionaires is they have a coach. And that's always that. And there's also a trait about that coach that I'm about to bring up too, but it's always driven me nuts that the smartest business people on the planet, the number one trait is they have a coach, and that coach pushes them, holds them accountable, is there for repetition, all the stuff that a really good coach does, help with the playbook, all the stuff they do. But for whatever reason, you all will see it as a sign of weakness, when it's actually it's a sign of you're a very smart person if you have one.
I think it's because we've been told you're an orthodontist, you've made it. You have the best job in America from U.S. News and World Report,
When was that report?
Was it 10 years ago at this point?
I don't know. I'm asking legitimately.
We still talk about it. We still talk about how we have the best job in America. And I think
No, you don't. I do. I like my job better.
I think, we have this view that it should feel easy. It should be amazing every day. And I think that actually detriments us. It keeps us from asking for help when we need it. And it can create our own little mental and emotional islands that we live on, that we stay on because we don't feel like we should need to be off the island. Like we're asking ourselves, what's wrong with me or my practice or what I'm doing that's creating a situation where I'm not totally happy but like you go to a meeting and everyone just walks around telling you how great it is, and we don't talk about the things that are our weaknesses or where we're struggling. And if you do bring up a little bit of that, then there's kind of all this kind of, oh, I'm sorry, and maybe they don't talk about it. And there's just not this level of trust to talk about what we necessarily see going poorly inside our own walls. We'll talk about what's going poorly externally, the economy, hiring issues. That's all outside our walls, out of our control. Everything inside our walls is great and happy and awesome, and we create beautiful smiles.
Can I say what I want to say right now?
I think you should.
All of you aren't as successful as you should be. Meaning that if you're a practice and you feel like you're rocking and rolling and you're bringing home more than you could possibly imagine, I know based on what we do that you could bring home twice that amount and work less. And for a lot of you out there, it's ironic to me because a lot of our customers end up being ones that they're kind of like what I just described. Like they're the most forward thinking in the industry. They kick butt, but they're constantly wanting to be coached to get better because they know there's leaky holes everywhere. And then you look at the ones that really need it, but getting them to seek help and then pay for it, that's the other one. Like we'll talk about this at some point, but you don't get to complain about your problems if you're not investing in fixing them. Like I see it all the time, like staffing, or we're chaotic, or our conversion's down, whatever it is. So you give them real solutions, but they don't like the price tag that comes along with it. So they would rather complain about it and not fix it than invest and get it fixed.
I think that's because, for the most part, orthodontists have had enough flex that they're doing well enough.
Yeah.
And they're doing well enough because they are watching every little line item and making sure their overhead's a certain percentage. And so, when you add in additional costs for something...
Your overhead's a lie.
What do you mean?
How can you not know this? I put you through the exercise.
Well, the investment versus the cost?
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm saying like this is how it gets viewed in general,
Yeah.
even if that's not like what I personally
Right.
do.
Right.
Everything is like just keep your costs down, keep your margin as big as you can, and you'll be good because you're an orthodontist. Just keep your head down, work hard, it'll all turn out.
Not anymore.
That has not been the story of my career.
Well, when people are calling 5 practices and going into at least 3, those rules are out. Yeah. And we'll probably keep this for a separate podcast, but the overhead's a lie because the numbers on your paper are a lie. That's called being finite-minded, which what we teach is the infinite-minded mindset, which is extremely different than the finite mindset. But a lot of you can't see this. I mean, we get called all the time, and they'll see Bob Skopak speak, they'll see you speak. The people that are outsourcing and reducing stress and chaos, and they'll be like, we want to be like that. And part of what we do, it's not for everybody. We don't jam this down your throat. But if you say we want to outsource and we want to, need less people, less stress, blah, blah, blah. We're a company that can walk you through that journey. But what a lot of people, when they start looking at the price tag of outsourcing, or what it's going to cost to have us coach them and walk them through to the end to be a good success, that's when they back out. And it's weird because it's almost like the industry would rather complain about the problem than invest to fix it. But that's where you can't look at paper. Like as an entrepreneur, and this is where the corporation can kill a small business. So as a corporation, like a rep, right, they're never going to be able to set things up in a way where they don't have to work hard. Right? The corporation's always going to make reps out there. Like you can all, like a ton of you follow my new patient group podcast, and then hopefully now this, when this comes out. But you can all relate. Like you have quotas to hit, and you're never going to be able to set things up in a way where you don't have to bust your butt to get that quota. As an entrepreneur, we're inherently lazy, meaning that we will work 80 hours a week for 10 years and sacrifice our whole lives, our well-being, everything, with the hope of getting it to a place where it's on autopilot, we make a ton of money, and we don't have to work to do it anymore. And because of that disconnect, corporations can't look at numbers the way we do, and vice versa, because anything you can do as a business owner to invest, right? Keep your costs down, but your investment's up. So if there's a company that can help you save time, right? You should invest in that company. If there's a company that can coach your employees on all the skill sets they do that have nothing to do with orthodontics whatsoever, sales, hospitality, psychology, verbiage, presentation, you should always be investing in a company like that to constantly make your people better. Those are investments. And that may, on paper, make your overhead go up. But would you rather have an overhead that's 70% of a practice that's $1 million? Or would you rather have a practice that has an overhead of 75% that's $2 million?
Yeah.
And this is the problem with how you all look at numbers. You want to nickel and squeeze the profit out in the overhead, but you're sacrificing the growth and the reduction of chaos and all that stuff along the way.
Well, and I think it's changed over time. Like I think orthodontists that are more at the end of their career, that's what they've always done. And then, they're the ones that accepted not increasing the prices. So they were squeezing. Now we have the next generation that feels like they've made it and think they have it figured out, which I would say are like middle-aged orthodontists that have created these OSOs, and they're like, I have it figured out now. These young orthodontists can just work for me and we're good and I fixed it. And I think the next revolution in thinking is like, okay, you have these orthodontists that are going to have worked for these OSOs. They don't, and some of them will then partner into those OSOs, right? You'll have that track. Then you'll have the people who leave and then purchase practices, people who leave and start up, but also where orthodontists are setting up is changing, because prior you had maybe one career in the family. They could set up really wherever they wanted to go, and it was great because whoever the partner was that was working the practice, they were near the house, near the school, near the activities, and so it was better than like driving into a city and commuting, right? Now we're dealing with 2-income households, and you have to deal with 2 careers. You have to deal with the fact that OSOs do exist, and so there are things that the patients are expecting as far as conveniences and technology. And so now you're looking, and AI is coming more and more into every industry. And so it's like, how do you, as this private practitioner, learn how to lead a team? And then even if you're in an OSO or you're in a partnership, you're still a leader in that clinic, and you were never trained in the leadership during your schooling. So, and the OSO, they've already been created. So it's not like this new generation is going to create this new thing called an OSO and say they're fine after 15 to 20 years of business. It's already been done. Like, so, for the people who are orthodontists who created the OSOs to be like, we have it figured out, we're all good, fixed, check. It's like, no, the next generation is looking at them being like, no, you may have fixed your temporary issue. You have now created a whole new thing that we've got to deal with.
Well, you all, as for the private practitioners listening out there, family owned is what I like to call that, even better. You all are lucky that the corporations don't hire entrepreneurs to run them. because as long as they're being run the way they're run, the private practice, you're fine. But you can't, and this is, I have a podcast on the new patient group side of things coming on this, and we'll definitely hit this too. But what a lot of you do out there is you try to become the corporation, right? You've got whatever corporate dentistry, ortho, whatever the heck down the street from you that's cheaper than you. You know, they have budgets that you'll never be able to touch. So what do? You try to advertise outside your doors more, and you try to bring your prices down because, oh my God, the guy down the street's $2,000 less than me. Right. And that's the opposite of what you have to do in a commodity. When you're a commodity, you have to be different with everything you do. And that is how, like, new patient phone call and your experience and how they sell. Everything inside your doors becomes so amplified when people are, and that's really my whole entrepreneur journey. That's what I've been obsessed with the most, is how do you teach a business that survives in a commodity to be able to charge the most and still have a wonderful conversion that makes you really happy, and be okay with, if you want to be the Ritz, letting the best Western people not buy from you and not even attract them to begin with. There's an art to that.
Can we talk about the fact?
No.
Yeah, we are. That
what you asked for.
We are doctors and we treat patients. And as much as I agree with the fact that we have been commoditized, it is a crying shame that we have, because that's not how it should be. There should be something different, something more sacred between a doctor-patient relationship compared to someone who just sells a product to a person. There should be something different. And the fact that the profession that I love, that I went into, that I chose, that's been in my family for 3 generations, has been commoditized. I just want to express outrage. Like, I am angry that this is what's happened.
Why are you getting angry?
Because it
as your coach, I don't want you to be angry.
But it is. You have to accept the fact that it is.
Yeah. I mean, if it is, I mean, I know, I don't even look at it as a negative thing. I mean, if you type Invisalign into Google or braces into Google, and you get 20 places come up within 15 minutes of your house, that's no different than if you type in pasta carbonara, you know, in my area, and you get 6 Italian restaurants come up that have it. Like, the recipe to win that battle is the exact same in every industry.
I agree with that aspect.
It sucks, is what it does.
I just think
just makes things harder.
I think that a doctor should be able to be different than just a salesperson. Like, there is a portion of educating your patient, making sure that you have that trust and different things like that. But I think that there used to be something sacred about having a doctor-patient relationship that now that we're commoditized, it's like, well,
it's still sacred. For the practices that I think it is. But I mean, that should be part of the culture of your organization, is making the relationship piece of it sacred, because that's going to attract people in that still appreciate those things. I think how you create it's different.
It may be.
And I mean, but yeah, you know, I mean, your relationship with your patients is great. Do they not like you?
I think some people don't like me, and they're not my patients.
I like you.
I understand. I think that's also been something over my career. Like, when I first opened, I really worried about, like, the fact that some people didn't like me. And I was like, but I'm trying to do the best for you. And it's like they didn't get it.
You can't make everybody happy.
Never.
I mean, I want to be liked. I guess it's not the be all end all, but I'm sure there's people that don't like me. Can you imagine that? Not liking me?
As bad as much as I can imagine people not liking
Everybody likes you. What are you talking about? No, but the whole world of orthodontics we're going to be talking out on this podcast. I think it's going to be cool, coming from the clinical brain, and that sometimes messes with your success, by the way, which maybe that could be the next podcast. We'll see. We haven't shot the second podcast yet. We've shot like number 50 and 51 and stuff, but now we're trying to fill in the gaps here. Here we go. Do you think anyone's going to listen?
If they do, it's going to be a fun journey.
It is going to be a fun journey. I like the non-scriptedness of this. And my new patient group podcast, I don't get to do this because it's just me. Right. So I don't really get to show. I'm like the biggest dork you'll ever meet. So hopefully I get to show that here.
I'm not the biggest dork you've ever met. I don't know.
You're close.
Maybe.
You're close. You know, earlier, this will show you how much I have to bite my tongue when I'm on stage. So earlier you said part of your duties.
Yeah.
I wanted to say you just said duties.
Of course you did.
I did everything I could to hold that back and let you continue to talk.
Thank you, Brian.
I didn't interrupt. I was very respectful of my co-host here. But looking forward to an awesome journey, to leadership, culture, how you train your team, clinically and non, marketing, right?
Yeah.
Mindset, psychology. Gosh, we could go on and on and on that we're going to cover from the business owner, clinician over here, and little old coach.
And a business coach.
I hate that term.
Really?
Entrepreneur coach.
Entrepreneurial coach.
Yeah, and other stuff.
You've done lots of things.
I'm weird. I have a weird career. But no, everybody, it's going to be awesome. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. And if you're listening on the audio channels, we need 5-star reviews before we start getting a bunch of ones. So that would really help us out. But until next time, are you going to say something?
Yes. If you think of a topic while we're doing this, put it in the comments. We'll make one. We'll make a podcast about it.
Absolutely. Maybe actually on the hosting site, you can text the show. So you can actually just in the podcast description below, just click that link. It'll allow you to text your ideas. I'm not sure what number that comes to, so I need to identify that. But I know you can text the new patient group number. I think it comes to our 800 number or something. That's kind of cool. And everybody, I want to give a quick shout out to, depending on when this is launched, I just want to give a quick shout out to check out our new patient group, Iconic. And in October 2024, we have a treatment coordinator only retreat here in Colorado Springs. And next year we have some great ones too. So make sure to check that out. And until next time.